good morning, most likely good afternoon. Definitely ain't gonna be good evening because we're gonna get it done today. Now, we're gonna have the adult conversations. This time it's not so much salt, just a little seasoning. Just a little seasoning. Let's go ahead and get it started.
With DDG being the older and more mature streamer that's been doing this shit, bro, DDG's been doing YouTube before I was. So it's like, I understand he loves beef and it's good content for him and everything like that, but there does come up like a point in time and place that where you really just gotta set somewhat of a motherfucking example.
I'm gonna just say this: he's not really good at the beef. See, the thing is, like people like 50 Cent can hold a beef forever. this man hold lifelong millionaire beefs to where he make money off his beef. That's how you properly beef. You know, like he had that whole document. I think he actually had a part of that damn Diddy documentary. This man was setting this up for like 10, 15 years. And the Rick Ross joint. That's how you properly beef. What they doing? Not so much. Now, what I will say, he did mess up with that, his baby mama's tape thing or whatever that situation was. He overstepped and made that mistake one time, but he didn't do it again. But I think he was actually sharing something that somebody else had posted. He didn't post it himself. But again, big following. Unfortunately, he had to take that hit.
You know what I mean? You said Reggie did? So you're telling me Reggie brought up his family before?
I'm gonna say this, like I've seen both of these cats, and I don't actively watch them, but the little bit that I've seen from Reggie, he pops off at the mouth extremely reckless a lot. And one thing that I say about DDG is I don't necessarily know where DDG would have started it, because I don't understand how Reggie would have came up in the conversation. So personally, what I think happened is Reggie said something first and then DDG said something back. Because I think it may have popped off because of the Halo situation and he was reviewing it. I don't know. All I know is he said, she said, or he said, whatever. But I don't know what would have made DDG mention Reggie for any reason. I could be wrong though. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just saying I don't understand why he would.
Are you sure about that? Let you find it? Okay, let me all right, we're going back to the beginning. The point that I'm making, did the more experienced party started first? Because from what I seen, Reggie was just having a good time making comedic jokes, clowning his hairline, talking about their music. So where did it get to the point where family was mentioned first?
Well, this is what I'll say. DDG is extremely sensitive. This boy is super sensitive when it comes to his music. Now, I think this is what possibly could have happened. Reggie could have possibly clowned the fact that DDG's music was not good, and DDG's music is not good. And he could have took it personal, and then he could have said that back to him. Because he's unhinged. When he does say something back, this is what I will give him. DDG, when he says something back and tries to be disrespectful, he does hit below the belt. He attempts to, or whatever it is. He will do that. Or he'll also attempt to try to sun somebody or something like that, and I can see how that escalation could take place. You know, like how he was clowning LTG when he was talking about his views and his subs and all that, telling him to get to work, clowning his viewership.
Like, you can't really read my shit no more. But I've been in your shoes, buddy. Don't hate on the next man. You know what I mean? Just because your shit moving, just because a can type a book in your shit, and you can read the whole book before the next type.
That's what I mean. And simply for internet clowning and roasting, that's typically as far as it's supposed to go. It's supposed to be like, haha, look at your view count. Your view count's this low, or your sub count's this low. And oh yeah, you know, shout out for that over 5K now. I see the numbers going up. I see he trying to work towards it. I gotta, you know, he trying to make some money. I ain't gonna knock him. But let's go ahead and get back to what we was talking about.
Is DDG wrong for speaking of Reggie father after Reggie spoke on Halo?
If I look in your bio and that shit say rest in peace dad.
How old is this clip? Is this new or old? This from years ago?
Really, it looked like a clip of a clip of a clip because it's cropped and everything else. So when people keep on reusing clips, it probably just lost a lot of its quality and it's cropped in. So not only that, it's zoomed in. So it possibly could be a recent clip.
Then I think it's unwarranted. Look, I'll click on it or whatever, but
It's over. I'm going straight for the kill. F your dad. That's why he dead now. I'm one of them type bro. Don't argue with me if you know your cousin just died, bro. Don't argue with me if you know your cousin just got shot.
what does this have to do with
Now I'm gonna say this: there's ways to roast, cook, and clown and all of that, but it's just not even funny as a joke when you talking about almost roast your family members that passed away. It comes to a point in time when it's just disrespect. Like, it's not even funny. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Reggie. It's not even funny, and that comes to you. Like, if you had a pops, your pops should have taught you better than that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, your pops was not there, because no respectable man will sit there and allow his son or his kid to diss the dead. When they gone, that's it. You know, and you making fun of that person, you should make fun of that person for whatever you want to clown them for. But disrespecting the deceased, bro, they already gone. Like, what's the point of that? It's like, oh, I want to say anything to try to hurt you or get under your skin. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It's very feminine of you. It's very feminine. Like, men don't do that. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. It's very feminine, bro. And you're probably saying, well, why am I saying that? Well, because women, they attack with their words. They want to get under your skin when they say things. Men, well, we could just go out to the street and we could just duke it out, bro, and we could be cool after. But females, since they're not as strong as us, or they can't assert themselves in a more of a aggressive manner, how we do in a physical manner, then they'll say things to cut you down. They'll say things to make you feel some type of way. They'll say things to try to get you to crash out. So when I'm saying you're acting very feminine, you acting like a female, that's not how a man moves. And again, I'm not saying this to disrespect your father. I'm not saying this just because I don't do all that. But what I'm saying is, as a manly figure or a masculine figure in your life, they're supposed to teach you there's supposed to be boundaries and lines you don't cross. You have to understand that that's not something that we do. This is just man to man. And like, you ain't got to listen. You can clown me, whatever you want to do, bro. I don't care. You know, but I'm just telling you, you can accept it or not. It is what it is.
Oh, so it's a stupid ass out of context clip saying that, oh, because he said something years ago, that if they get into a, man, get this shit out of here.
Nah, it's not out of context, because he's being very honest here. He's telling you how he gets down. He's not playing. He was very concise with his words. He was very calculated with his words, and he said exactly what he meant. And he was very specific, because usually when people on live and they're like, okay, maybe you just said something out of, you're live, so it's a little different. No, he was like, look, you better not have no relative that died or anything, because I'm clowning. You better know better not to approach me with nothing, because I'm gonna say this because this happened to you. He said this very specifically with conviction. He was not playing. And I've seen his clips as of late, and he's still doing it. So I would give the benefit of the doubt if it wasn't something he was currently doing. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm like, nah, that's how he rocking. That's how he get down.
Man, back to the point that I was saying, with DDG being the more older, experienced streamer / YouTuber, is a YouTuber first, then he's a streamer, right? With him being the more experienced, seasoned vet, I think that it was out of context when we start bringing up people's family members, because then when you do that, you open up the door to where he could say whatever the fuck he wants.
That's true. That is true. It does become an elimination of boundaries. Now, should you do it? No. But, if you start it, you can't be surprised at how somebody responds.
About your family members. And I think that it's something that, him being the more seasoned, the seasoned vet in the game, I think that that's something out of context that really you could have actually kept it playful. Like, there didn't have to be any family members mentioned or anything. You could have just kept bagging on him for being short and possibly not having hands. He could have kept bagging on your albums and roasting you for this and that.
Now, when it comes to roasting, you know how this always ends up. It always turns it, but can you whoop me though? But can you whoop me though? Yeah, you're right. Because then it could have been a boxing match. It could have made a bunch of money. It could have been a Cottonette boxing match like Aiden Ross. And then they could have went in there, duked it out, and it would have been all over with. And then didn't nobody even have to diss nobody's relatives.
Basically showing invisible loyalty. Tarlo trying to show that he got extra tattoos now. All right, I got it. All right, let me see this other shit. All right, so here's DDG speaking on it. So he just went live with the title, Reggie Dad Gone, with a heartbreak, and says that he's going as low as possible after Lil Rodney brought up his son and Halle Bailey.
Now, I'm going to say this. As somebody who's going through a custody situation and having your kid, the last thing you want to be doing is internet beefing with somebody talking crazy. That is not going to play out in your favor. Like I'm telling you now, you ain't got to listen to nobody. You can do whatever you want to do. But I'm telling you right now, it is not working out in your favor.
But my question is very simple. Who was the first person to bring up people's family members? This is crazy. Niggas are banging on each other through fucking stream titles. It's like, I don't know who to believe in the chat. Like you said, Reggie did. Who was it first, Reggie or fucking DDG?
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Because if both people do something wrong at that point, it doesn't matter who started it. That's why it's better to handle it the correct way so you can easily distinguish who was wrong and who was right. Because if only one of them was doing that, dealing with the family member situation, then it'd be like, yeah, bro, you was out of pocket. You shouldn't even have did all that. And you could have took the high road. But when both y'all take the low road, y'all both hitting low. At that point, it doesn't matter. Nobody took the high road, so there is no, oh, well, yeah, you more accountable first. Nah, you did the same thing back. That's simply what it is. Now you got to take the punishment like a football team. All y'all get punished together. You know what I'm saying?
Opinions about shit. He brought up his homie Craig, so Reggie posted Hallie on his story. Okay, so
let's just use that as context. If Reggie would have never responded like that and was like, all right, bro, so I mean, that's what we doing. That's real tasteless. If he would have took the high road, he could have got a whole lot more credibility out of the situation. And that's what I'm saying. So now, what could have helped you out, what could have helped you grow, what could have took DDG down a notch and raised you up one, now you done lost that leverage. Because based on what you saying now, you can make people look at you some type of way because of the way you acting. So, I mean, hey, but again, y'all do what y'all want.
I mean, but DDG is he's still like the OG. So he should have just posted something subliminal on his. I don't know, man. But my thing about here's my shit about DDG. I'm gonna just say this as somebody that's also a vet in the game. I'm gonna say this to DDG specifically. You gotta stop allowing this to be able to pull your card so easy.
You don't follow your own advice, but yes, he is correct. He is right about that.
Like, as much money as DDG has, as much notoriety and popularity and fame, nobody should be able to just say something about you and you just bite.
That's not even just on his level. That's on any level. Even at a smaller level, it's just some things when people... It shows how big you truly are based on how you respond to the things that you're responding to when you respond to them in a negative way. There's plenty of things. I mean, there's plenty of things that smaller people that they don't address because it's going to make them look even smaller. Meek Mill and Drake are a prime example of this. Also, Joe Budden and Drake. Drake was considered bigger. However, Budden influenced Drake and Drake looked up to Budden. And when you look at it, Joe Budden whooped Drake in that battle, and people acted like it didn't happen because of how big he was, how big Drake was. You see what I'm saying? So it's a very risky endeavor whenever you're picking these battles like this. And it's not limited to size. It doesn't matter if you're big or if you're small. It can affect you both ways. It can hinder your growth, or it can also cause you to fall. One or the other. Usually, anytime you're picking battles on social media is a very dangerous endeavor, especially when it's on the negative standpoint. Now, clowning and regular internet stuff, funnies, ha-has, and joking around, not so much. But when it comes to something on a more serious scale, yeah, it could really cost you. It could benefit you, but it could definitely cost you, and that's at any size.
Like, even I'm better at the shit than this.
Debatable.
Like, even me, as low of a scale as I'm on compared to the rest of these guys, right? If I was DDG, I would never respond to me.
That's false. You respond to smaller people all the time. I was like, heck, somebody say something in your chat you disagree with, you ready to go off. You know what I'm saying? So I don't too much believe that, but nice try.
Like with this shit, there's ways he could strategically do it, but my nigga, I feel like he be getting too emotional with it. That's not even no disrespect, but I feel like he definitely gets too emotional with this.
Yeah, that's very true. He does.
When he's saying about his music or says like my it's fine. Like if you're up here, you don't gotta bite at everything somebody say about you.
Very true. And if he wants to go out there and his music is due to water and he wants to put it out there, he can do that. Bro, at the end of the day, you're pursuing your dream, doing what you want to do. The music is not good. It's not. But You worried about what people behind the computer screen is saying when you're the one out there pursuing your dreams or doing what you want to do. You're the one out there on the stage. You're the one in the studio. You're the one putting yourself out there to perform and do all of this while you got people like Anthony Fantano or whoever else reviewing your music sitting behind a computer screen. The difference is you're out there doing it. So there should never be a time that somebody on the internet is saying something that make you feel some type of way, take it personal, get teary-eyed and upset, saying, oh, take me serious, whatever. Dude, you're out there doing it. It doesn't matter if they take you serious or not. If you want to do it, just do it. But if you ask my honest opinion, you're better off just being a streamer because ain't no money in music, and your music is not good enough for you to really make $1 off your music like that. You're actually losing money because music is a free endeavor. It's a passion endeavor. It's not a profitable endeavor. Not saying you can't make money off of it, but you're hustling backwards. And that's my opinion. But you can, hey, you can do whatever you want. Your bread, you can fund your projects. Hey, have fun, have at it. Do whatever you like.
Like, I knew about this Wire. Shout out for the 28 months. I knew about this before I was doing you, bro. I used to be watching DDG videos before I was LowTierGod. So it's like, for me to see this guy get to this level and allow this little bullshit to be fucking with him, it's just like, my nigga should really cancel out the white noise. Like, it's really unnecessary, bro. If somebody says something about you, you don't gotta respond to every fucking thing unless you're purposely wanting to turn everything into content. I really do think that this should work on not allowing anybody to say anything about him to the point where he's going to respond.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't got nothing negative to say about it. He's 100% right there. I mean, it's nothing I can say.
Like, just don't, everything doesn't need a response, because every time you respond to some shit, you turn somebody up. Like, sometimes you can just ignore it. Bro, if I get on the internet and make a video right now, like, man, you don't do you. That's not that I'm a huge fan. You don't do it, man. I ain't with that music. That nigga came out of jail, ain't doing no push-ups, bro. Am I gonna get a response?
Nah, you actually probably would. And this is one thing that I know a lot of people are in denial about, or they don't want to accept this, but we keep it real over here. Like, LTG, his platform is not as big as it could have been, but his name carries weight. I know people don't want to accept that. They have a problem with that. It is what it is. But that's why DDG responded. That's why a lot of these people responded. That's why Reggie ran the match. That's why the other dude who does Tekken was trying to find this out. Is he really as bad at the game as people say he is? Because if his name carried no weight, if he was not still relevant after 10 to 15 years, like, you weren't here yesterday. To be relevant on the internet for over a decade is not an easy feat. Whether you like a person or not, it is extremely difficult to remain relevant for over 10 to 15 years. I know it may not seem like that, but you gotta understand how fast things move today. This is not the early 2000s or the 90s. Like, in the 90s, you could still be relevant if you did something in 81. These days, if you do something in 2009, you could be irrelevant by 2012. So you just got to think of the math of how the internet and these things exponentially grow, all these people going viral and all these things happening. To remain relevant, that's really a big deal. Again, whether you like them or not, just keeping it real.
Let's click on this clip.
And for people that's worried about the title, I have lost all respect for that little ass boy. I have no respect. I'm ready to go as low as possible. If you go low, you bring my family into it, I bring your family into it. That's just.
I'm gonna be real with you. Maybe this nigga enjoys this shit.
He does, and it's extremely tasteless. It's just regular classless behavior. A lot of people get off on doing this. They really do like it. They like the beef. They like the drama. But this is where I say that people have to be responsible about the platforms they have. Him and Reggie, they're not gonna see each other in the street. They're not gonna ride on each other. There might be like some type of boxing match they do for money or something, maybe in the near future, if Reggie, gets his name up a little bit more, or people really want to see it. But outside of that, you're setting out an example for the public that are taking after you, that are acting like you. And the average person who behaves the way that DDG and Reggie are behaving, well, that's how you wind up getting put on a t-shirt. That's the problem.
So he also calls Rodney a terrible person for going live and saying that he's not attending his father's funeral. Okay, so he went live and said it.
And the career off of dissing his daddy. Is that what it is, y'all? I didn't know he made a career off of dissing his daddy. Then I seen a clip where he said he ain't going to his daddy's funeral. You're a terrible person, Reggie. Matter of fact, I am gonna mention your name. You're a terrible person. That man birthed you. That man came to your graduation. That man came to support you. That man wanted to be in your life. Your mom. You need to have a conversation. I think that's what you need to do. You need to have a conversation with your mom and ask your mom why. You need to ask your mom why your dad wasn't in your life. Was it because he didn't want to be, or is it because he couldn't?
Yeah, that's some real talk right there. And that's actually a very common issue. It's a very huge issue. Of course, it's not 100% because we got an alleged person we watch here, but this person was very blunt and clear about what they did or did not want to be there for. But we'll leave that alone. That's not the conversation today. But some of the things that I've seen from Reggie or Rodney, whatever his name is, I've seen some extremely tasteless behavior from this little boy. Even the fact of to get put on what he said he would do to Kai Cenat if he got him on, and let's just say it was some very statements that he was making.
W Kai Cenat, my nigga, get me on stream, bro. I'll literally lick your balls, gang.
Yeah. So I don't know what's with y'all new age or new era dudes who always doing all this, but bro, that's just a no-go. And just off rip, like again, I don't know what happened. I don't care what happened, but y'all gotta chill with all that. Like that right there, that's a no-no. Like it's just too much of that. Like it's one thing, like if you make a joke, but that's just, you don't invite yourself to another man's places. I'm gonna just say it like that. That's just not, no, bro. No, that's a no-no. I don't know, it's not funny. It ain't cool, bro. Chill. If you a straight man, there's just some things you do not say. I don't care what excuse y'all try to give. If you are a straight man, stop acting like one who's not. I'm gonna just say it like that.
That man loves you. That's wrong. But I really don't even want to get on here and like exert this. It really rubbed me the wrong way as a nigga that's being a father that's doing what he's supposed to do, and seeing that Reggie dad was doing the same thing, and his son, his hard-headed, dusty-ass stud son,
he do
wanted to make a career off dissing him, and y'all support that shit. Then you get on live in front of tens of thousands of people and say, I'm not going to his funeral. Like, why is that the internet's bit? Why do I know this, Reggie? Why do I know this? I should not know this.
Yeah, that is true. And in all fairness, he don't post the other way around when it comes to his kids. He don't post negative stuff about even his baby mama and stuff going on. So if we were to do comparisons, yeah, Reggie's would be a whole lot worse. Just outside looking in.
This is all a skit, by the way. Why do I know this information? I never wanted to know this. You're a terrible person. Your jokes are not funny.
That's a fact. He's not funny at all. The same way you don't make good music, one and one.
They're disgusting. Seriously. And that's the real reason you...
I try to keep it in context. So also DDG pulls up a picture. He set a photo of Rodney's deceased father as his phone lock screen. Like, is this hip hop beef or is this like Twitch?
I don't know what, however y'all be, I don't know what that is. This is just, I don't know. This is just, you just give people some internet and they just act a complete fool. But since it got brought up and from that conversation earlier, this is a video you need to watch. If you into hip hop beef, this was a classic. This wasn't even what I was doing, and I got sidetracked and it set my video back a whole 45 minutes because I sat here watching this.
Cannabis career suffered from this beef while LL continued to thrive. And the general consensus is that this beef ruined his career. LL Cool J is the bigger name, the guy who sells more records with countless Billboard hits.
that was just another example of one person versus another. And this is one thing that I'm gonna tell you, like, that's how a lot of this goes. That, of course, that was in the 90s era and early 2000s, so times were a lot different, but this game has been the same for a long time. It has not changed. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Hassan and Asmon Gold, if you're talking about Moist Critical, if you're talking about Content Cop or H3H3, Abba and Preach, Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, the O'Shea Dude Jacksons, Corey Holcombs. It doesn't matter who it is. If there's anybody who goes into an issue with another creator, it's the same situation. That may not end you like it did back then because you had no platforms of your own. But yeah, that's how a lot of that can go. But let them go ahead and continue.
It's kind of insane, man. Like I said, I never thought I'd see the day where I see, blacks, quote unquote, beefing back and forth on live streams, posting each other's deceased fathers and talking about BMs and kids.
I did.
This is crazy. Like I said, this is like, this type of shit right here is why people will always look at us like just fedora tap dancing ass.
That's 100% fact. And a lot of people don't want to have this conversation, but yeah, the negative connotations are put out by us. Nobody made us put out this negative connotation. Nobody made us talk about anybody's deceased relatives. Did nobody make somebody talk about their kids or their baby mama? Nobody did. Y'all went on there willingly and made the decision to do that in a tasteless manner. And of course, I'm not saying that nobody else does this, but I can care less what other people do, because what they do does not affect what we do. We affect what we do. We affect our outward appearance. We affect how people look at us when it comes to business. It affects all of us.
It's because you don't see any streamers from any different communities going back and forth, beefing or anything like that. It's just...
That's false. They still do it. But again, I don't care about what other people do, because what other communities do is irrelevant. Because people are always saying crazy stuff on Twitch and doing ridiculous stuff. But again, what outsiders do is irrelevant. It does not matter. What they got going on is their business. It doesn't affect me what they got going on. Now I might cover it, but as far as the culture of black people, it doesn't affect black people. It affects whatever community they come from.
Like you're bringing the rogatry onto Twitch when literally the shit could stay out of it. Like, you just could have FaceTime and did this off stream, and you're rogging up the platform.
They're really not. They're contributing to the community that already exists on there. But I prefer for them not to do that because it leaves a bad connotation on black people. So yeah, I'd rather them not do that. It's very tasteless.
Coming on stream, banging on each other, showing people's deceased family members, and you got this talking about his BM and his son. Like, this shit is ridiculous. But like, shit like this is things that you do in the streets. Like, this is stuff where, you do in the streets, and when you see somebody is up type shit, you know what I mean?
And that was the exact thing that I was saying earlier. For them too, this is not gonna happen. But everybody who consumes this content and watches it is going to influence somebody in the street. Then, like you said, when they see you, when I see you in the street, you know what time it is. That's what happens on a regular scale. That's what happens with the normal individual. That's what happens with the normal viewer who's growing up looking at this like it's all good and it's cool. Then they wind up in prison because they did something dumb, or they wind up on a t-shirt. And that's the part of the consequence. That's why I say y'all need to stop doing that, because you're influencing a lot of people. There's always going to be more people who come up underneath you who you influence. And when they go out here and do it, remember, they're not you. They're not DDG. They're not Rodney or Reggie or whatever his name is. They don't make money off of this. They're not streamers. They're everyday people. And they will be affected. Do they have freedom of choice? Yes. But you also have responsibility for the influence that you put out.
To be doing this on Twitch is like, it's just really putting a negative light on the black side of the platform. It's almost like pretty soon they're gonna put all of us in a category and call it urban, because y'all just keep doing this. They could be like, oh, the urban category.
Yeah, yeah, they would.
Remember how T-Pain, they said they approached him to have something called Twitch Black? Bro, I'm telling you, the more they keep rogging up the plat, dead ass, they gonna have an urban section where all the rogatry, you hit urban, all of us gonna pop up. Hopefully not me, I'm a new age black.
Cap, you're gonna be at the top of the list.
Is it?
This is insane. Wasn't that a thing? Well, they tried to approach T-Pain for something called Twitch Black, and he denied it, and they canned it.
Exactly. It don't need to be separated. Have it on a regular platform, because if you do that, this is what people don't understand. If you separate it, then you don't get awards with everybody else. You don't get the general award. You get the Black award. It's not as official as the main award. So if you get all these subs, all these follows, it'll just push you in the Black category. T-Pain was smart about that. Yeah. I bet people be like, why not? Yeah, that's why. Because it will invalidate, and it will make it to where you compete in your own section even if you're winning. So you can get all the subs, make more than everybody else, but you will only be in the Black situation, like the Black category, and it won't count for the main categories.
I think I got one more clip. He says that he wishes the Kai-Cenat would have hit him back so that they could have de-escalated things before the beef with Reggie got out of hand. So he's bringing Kai into it, knowing these are trying to do AMP Summer.
And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with there being a de-escalation, especially if everybody knows each other and you knew he was doing this? Why not? If you had the possibility or you had the capability to say, hey, chill out so we don't have to do all this stuff on the internet, because if he don't, because now they're in a very bad situation to where the type of dude he is, if he does not say anything back, which he doesn't have to respond the way he responded, but if he doesn't say anything back, it's gonna be a problem. He'll be like, oh man, he's gonna let him talk crazy about you like that. And you know how messy these blogs and these videos are. Once it comes out, he has to respond to it. If he doesn't, it's not gonna be a good look, because it's gonna look like he's ducking or dodging.
Like, y'all can't be dragging Kai into the rogatry. Like, this man and his crew is trying to have fun, and like, you know, they doing 12-hour streams, a crew member, and you guys dragging Kai into it. This right here is gonna make Kai like, I'm not gonna, let's just use this as an example. What this does is that the more famous a gets, right? Because of dumb shit like this, it makes them push away from the community, where I don't want no fucking I'm kicking it with Kevin Hart on BT Plus. Stop talking about me.
You know, this happens with a lot of situations, especially in business. Like, this is, I don't co-sign Jay-Z, but this is one of the situations with Jay-Z when he was backstage. You could see it in his face, the situation where he was like, yo, I got to get away from these dudes. I'm trying to make money out here, and they're out here just being ridiculous on camera backstage. Now, I'm not saying he didn't pull no funny business or nothing like that, or didn't rip nobody off or take no brand or sell brands without permission. That's not what I'm saying. But more times than not, based on what you're doing, it can affect income for you. It can affect business for you, because you become a risk. And once you become a risk, you will lose opportunities. And the last thing that people are trying to do, especially with something like Twitch, or where your work's not guaranteed, your money's not guaranteed, the success is not guaranteed, the last thing you need is something hindering your success or holding you back. Because if something starts holding you back, and this money already ain't guaranteed as it is, we done already had an ad apocalypse on YouTube and on Twitch, the last thing that you're gonna need is something that's gonna hinder you or cause you problems. So yeah, he will wind up little by little distancing. After that Blueface and Krishan, or whatever her name is, Krishan Rock, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but basically after that situation with them and all that she did in his studio, how many more interviews has he had on his channel similar to that? How many more kick it sessions has he had similar to that? You ain't seen it no after that one. You ain't seen it again, unless it was something that was scripted that they wanted to do outside of Streamer University. And then they had to shut that down because what all the stuff they were doing, so he might not even do that again now. Because remember, old bull was running around shooting BBs at people with an airsoft gun or something like that, and then hit a girl in the eye. So it's like, with the same kind of behavior, same type of people doing too much, and then you wonder why you don't get opportunities or nobody invites you anywhere, because you're doing too much. And you're gonna make the insurance rate and the cost to even do it even higher, because you become a risk, and it's on camera that you're a risk. See what I mean?
I'm gonna stop answering your calls. The more raw shit that keeps popping, I'm telling you, this Kai gonna slowly start moving away from these niggas, because when you have somebody,
the Steamer U category was just the urban section for Twitch.
When you have somebody who's trying to do different things and have a crossover appeal and do things that are outside of streaming and build relationships with people in different circles, and then you guys are trying to drag this down into some corny ass Twitch high school beef. It's going back and forth when it shouldn't have even went this far. It's crazy. If there's any clips that I'm missing with the whole Kai reacting to it, let me know, but I got a couple bookmarked, but keep me posted.
So we seeing it in real time now. Again, the marketing may change and they may be fine with people doing that, or maybe it might be something that they feel is good as advertisement for their company. But I'm here to tell you, I've never seen a professional company or a big money industry have a bunch of risky, engaging behavior talking about deceased people, and the big money does not co-sign that kind of behavior. Now, they co-sign some questionable behavior, but as far as that and the beefs and something that could possibly wind up being tragic, unless it's like rap or something like that, where they have insurance policies on their artists where it's not such a big deal if they wind up getting taken out, they don't want to do business with that because it's going to cost them more money. You become a risk to do business with. So it's not a small thing. And then you start wondering like, man, why they can't? I was like, look at how you're acting. Look at the things that you're doing. So you should not be surprised when the opportunities are not there. And keep in mind, if you have this color, you look this way, and you're acting this way, you will affect others around you that have nothing to do with your behavior just because, every time they get bigger, every time they got notoriety, this is what they're doing. You see what I mean? So y'all need to chill out. But if you kicked it with your boy this long, I appreciate you hanging with me. Links in the description below like always. And in the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.